black. All right, now I'm good. They start to realize that they were just very, very empathic and they were feeling others' energy, and all they needed to do was do that protection, and then they feel their own energy, and it's all good. So, anyway, doing it if you're highly empathic and feeling other people's energy, super important. There are different types of bubbles and barriers and protections that you can use. So, for me, my main one that I use is a bubble of bright light protection. I guess that's not even true. I use a lot of them. I use a whole bunch of different um, methods because so before I do any healing in my office, I do a bubble of bright light protection around myself, my whole room, the floor, the ceiling, and I make sure that I set intent and protect that. But one of the main ones is a bubble of bright light protection. So you can set that bubble of bright light protection around yourself, and then you give it that intent, which we already talked about. You can say, I want this bubble to protect me from taking on anyone else's energy. And you can say you want this bubble to protect you from anyone else stealing your energy. And you can set it for anything else that you want. You can say that I want this bubble to act as a mirror. And so I'm not able to be seen that much. I'm just not feeling like I want to be seen that much today. And it'll almost be like you're invisible and people were just seeing yourself or themselves. You can also say that I want this bubble to have or to protect me from taking on any kind of sickness or anything like that. You can basically for anything that you want. But doing that bright light protection, you just have to set intent. And then the other way is or are setting protection around your house, which I already said that as well. Your walls and stuff you can do. If you're protecting your whole house, you can place a bubble of bright white light surrounding your house. And if you want to do your property, you create a bubble of bright white light surrounding your whole entire property. And then you give it intent. And it protects your house, it protects your area, and you're good to go. Let's see. So then we get into like shielding. So if I have someone that comes to me and they're venting, and they're just like, oh my gosh, guess what happened? And they're right in front of me, and they're like, guess what happened? Blah, blah, blah. This person did this, and this. And, you know, I want to hold space for everyone, and I do hold space for anyone, but I also have to protect myself. So instead of just shutting myself out and saying, yeah, yeah, sure, and just not listening, I visualize a bubble of bright white light, not a bubble, a barrier of bright white light going right between us. So it's almost as if there's a screen that's right between us, and as they talk, that screen catches any negative energy, and I just feel the energy that I need to feel. I don't feel the negative energy. I just feel what I need to feel. So I set that up, and it works great. A lot of the times, I'll set up like a imaginary shield, and then I'll place like a vacuum, almost like above a stove, how the vacuum sucks the smell and the smoke up. I'll place that above that, and I just see their words or their energy just soaking up into the going up into the universe to be transmuted, and that's a great way to hold space for them and allow their words to get out and help them. So keep that in mind. I have a friend that would call me and you'd be like, oh my gosh, guess what this person did today, or guess what my significant other did last night, and whatever, and they would start going on and on and on about that situation. And the first few times they did it, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's terrible, you need to do this, you should do this, blah blah blah. But then I would realize at the end of the call they would say like, man, thank you so much, I feel so much better. And I'm like, yeah man, no problem. And I'm like ready to fall asleep and I'm feeling drained because what happened is they took and sucked all of my negative energy, or I'm sorry, they took all of my energy and I took on all of their negative energy, and they just drained me basically. Then what I found happened is and he was talking to me about arguing with his girlfriend or wife, whichever one it is. And then I got off the phone, and then I found about 15 minutes later, my wife and I were exchanging words. And I was like, whoa, hold on. No, no, no. This ends here. We're going to go ahead and get rid of it, because anger just acts as a snowball. It gets passed around between one person and another. Same with like someone in an argument. When you say something in an argumentative way, it gets sent, or in an angry way even, it gets sent to that person, and then they take it, they build it up a little bit more, and then they send it back at you, and then you take it, build it up, send it back at them, and you literally just go back and forth with this anger until one of you blows up, and then it just is like a big old anger bath of energy, pretty much, just all over the walls, all over everything. And yeah. All right, so there's another method that I have used on my own house, and it is utilizing black tourmaline. So that's a crystal, and it soaks up negative energy. But what you do is you take this black tourmaline and you place it in each corner of your house. So the corner on one side, and then as you place that, you walk along the wall and you visualize bright white energy filling that wall, and then you place that next one in the next corner, and then go to the next corner and you visualize bright white light going to that, and you do that in all four corners of your house. If you have more than four corners for some reason, do it however it seems fit, but you're basically building a perimeter around your house and sealing it with bright white light and utilizing black tourmaline to soak up any negative energy that tries to come in or enter that area. So utilize that as well. If anybody that's watching this comes to my center and you want to know what black tourmaline looks like, I have some there. I also have some for sale if you want to buy some, but you can get it other places as well. And yeah, feel free to get it and try it out. Some people hold black tourmaline in their pocket or on a necklace to soak up any negative energy that comes their way. So that could be another good way to protect yourself. And there's many other ways like that. We're just not talking about that today. We're talking about bubbles of bright light protection. All right, so let me see. All right, so a couple things to understand with this is you cannot set a bubble of bright light protection around someone without their permission unless it's your child. And even as the child gets older, there becomes a question on if you can do it or not. If it's a young child, then you can go ahead and do so. If it's not, then you might want to get their permission. But you can set bright light protection around those people. When I set bright light protection, I do it around myself, both of my sons, my wife, my house, my property, and I usually do it around our cars as well, because I'm trying to protect us in every single way from any negative energy that comes in. And when I set my bubble, I state that I call down Archangel Michael, I call down Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Raphael, and my spirit guides, and I ask them to help me set this bubble and set this intention. So I ask them to bless this bubble with the highest love and light possible, and make this bubble keep me safe from any negative, evil, or bad energies, entities, or spirits, and to deflect any negative energy that's sent to this bubble back to its original owner. So that's what I do. And then I tell them thank you, I love them, and all that kind of stuff. That's my routine, and I switch it up from time to time to keep it fresh. But yeah, feel free to use that if that vibes with you as well. And yeah, all right. So when you are setting a bubble of bright light protection, it's important to understand that number one, the bubble can look different ways at different times. Sometimes you can do it and it can look like a very straight, pristine bubble around you. Other times they can look wavy, or it can look kind of mushy, or however. And also sometimes you can do a bubble of bright light protection and it comes across as blue. And you may need blue to protect you at this time. So don't get scared if it comes across as something different. I've had times where my bubbles of bright light protection, I would place it around my son. And it would all of a sudden, instead of bright white, it would be fire. And there was one time that happened, and then something bad happened that day. Then the next day, or the next time that it happened, something else bad happened that day to him. And it could have been way worse. So I realized that fire was the universe's way of telling me, hey, he needs extra protection today. and so on. So now if I see fire, I then take any possibilities of any kind of negative or harm or anything like that that can happen to him, and I suck it out of his reality for that instance. And it has worked and it has been great so far. But paying attention to what the bubble looks like is super, super important because it might tell you a little something. Sometimes a bubble will come down or you'll do it and it might have spikes on it, or it may have, I don't know, grass or something coming out of it, whatever. It can have a whole bunch of different things going on with it. And it would be wise to allow that because that's just what you need at this time. So, all right. So now we talked about that. This is a story that I've told many times, so sorry if you all have already heard it, but it's a very important and powerful story. So I was doing my chakra bonding course when my teacher was teaching it to me. And I got to my heart chakra and I realized that it was coming out to me that one of my friends, one of my best friends, was draining my energy. He was stealing my energy. But for me, I was like, there's no way. I don't feel him stealing my energy. I don't really feel drained when I'm around him. Everything is fine. So whatever. So I went on for a while and then I started having dreams of like fighting this person and like him taking. So there was a lot that went on and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to set protection and set it with the intent to not allow him to steal energy from me. He worked with me. So he worked maybe like 10 feet away from me. And I got into work that day and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to see what happens. And I set a bubble, a bright white light around myself. And then I put the intent that I want this bubble, a bright white light, to protect me from that person stealing my energy. I said, I do not give them permission to steal my energy anymore. And within a couple of minutes, he started to get a little bit angry. And then within about like within about like 7 to 10 minutes, he was to the point where he threw his tool into his toolbox and or into the machine he was working on, and he started pacing back and forth around the factory. And then I was like, this isn't good. He's gonna end up getting fired or gonna end up fighting somebody or something. So I took the bubble away and I said that I would now like to allow him to steal my energy the same way he was. And when I did that, he sat down, and after like a couple minutes, he sat down and he was kind of rubbing his head and he looked over at me and he was like, I have no clue what just happened. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he was like, I just got so agitated out of nowhere. And I was like, well, has this ever happened before? And he was like, no, that's what's so scary is it's never happened before. And like, I was so mad or whatever. So anyway, moving forward with that, I started to each morning I would set protection around myself and I would set it to not allow him to steal my energy anymore. But what I did is I only allowed it, or I set it and I said he can only steal 95% of the energy he was stealing before. And I did that. And then I went to 90, then I went to 85, and I weaned him off of my energy, and he was okay, and he's still okay. And the thing to understand is he had no clue he was stealing my energy. What happened is his energy knew it was connected to me. He felt that feel-good energy because I was just awakening and I was just coming into my spiritual journey. I was meditating. I was doing all kinds of work. It was amazing. And he wasn't. And his energy was sucking my energy to make himself feel better. And he had no clue about it. I had no clue about it. And that's what happens when you set an energetic, or when you establish an energetic connection with someone. They can steal your dang energy without you even knowing it. So you got to be careful about that. All right. All right, I did tell that story earlier about my friend that would call me and he would be venting and stuff like that. I don't know if I went into, and it's not going to be long, I just want to go into it real quick, how I actually protect myself now. So now when someone calls me like that, immediately what I do is I visualize a bubble of bright white light surrounding my body. Then I visualize a bubble of bright white light surrounding the phone, and I give it intent of I do not want to take on any, or this bubble is to not take on any negative energy that this person's spewing out, and I want to keep my energy as well. I don't want to allow them to steal my energy. So when I did that, that is when it that's when they would call me, they would vent, and then I would not feel drained. They would still feel good because they got rid of their stuff, but I wouldn't be drained. So it was it's very beneficial. So make sure that you're allowing yourself to do so. And then also I kind of mentioned this before, but before you go into any crowds, like if you're going to a concert and you get to your car, or you're in your car and you get to the concert, take a second and just visualize a bubble of bright white light surrounding yourself. Say the intention of I just don't want it to, I want it to not allow me to take on anyone else's energy. No one else has lost steal my energy. Whatever else you feel like saying, there's no right or wrong way. And then go into that concert, and I guarantee you're going to feel a huge difference in life if you do this the way that you can and should. Excuse me. I recommend doing bright light protection in the morning and at night at the very minimal, because we set that bubble, and as we go through our day, it wears down. It's like you set that intention and it's there, but then that energy depletes over time. Make sure that you do it anytime that you feel like you need to do it. So if, for example, for me, I do it in the morning when I wake up, one of the first things I do. And then when I go to a session in the morning, I do a bubble of bright light protection on myself before I do any session. Right, like as I'm saying a prayer above the person, I do a bubble of bright light. Then the next person comes in, I do another bubble of bright light. And I set that intent that I do not want it to allow me to take on anything. And I do that in a lot of different ways. So if I'm going into a restaurant, bubble of bright light protection. If I'm going to a concert, if I'm going to anything, I think you get the gist. But allow yourself to experiment with it for a while and do it in the morning and at night, and then do it whenever you think about it. When you're going to a place that you feel uncomfortable, or a grocery store is a great one. A lot of the times when I'm going up to the to pay, I feel a rush of anxiety, because in one day I was like, why am I feeling so much anxiety when I get to the checkout? And my guides were like, you're feeling anxiety because you're feeling everyone else's anxiety of paying for their groceries. There's some people that can't afford it. There's some people that are hesitant to do it, and so on. And I was like, wow, I never even thought of that really. So when I'm walking up to the checkout, I do bright light protection before I actually check out. So utilize it however you want, but the most important part is to do it and see the difference. All right. So, one thing that I learned going through my 2 or 3 years of like fighting or learning all about negative energies of the world is that, and this is stronger than any bright light protection. This is like the strongest thing that you can learn in this life, is that you are in charge of your reality. You are in charge of what influences you. Unless you give it permission, it is not allowed to influence you. Now, some people have tons of rebuttals for that statement, but you have to go deep to fully understand what I'm saying about that. And also, when it comes to spirits or negative entities or any of that kind of stuff, if you do not give them permission, sort of like the vampires, like you have to invite them into your house. They're not allowed in unless you invite them. It's literally the same way with like negative energies or spirits or anything like that. Unless if you give it permission, it cannot affect you. So this is the key thing. You are in charge of your reality in this realm of things, because this is the physical realm. Nothing spiritual or energetic can influence you on this physical realm, because this is your domain. You have complete control over here. So whenever anything's messing with you, or you're taking on energy or whatever, understand you are in charge. And it wasn't until I realized that, and as soon as I realized that, everything stopped, and I now have control over my life and over negative energy and all of that stuff. So please just understand that you are in control, stand in your power, and do your thing. All right, so to wrap it up, doing Brett light protection is encouraged morning and night. It helps with anxiety. It helps with sadness or depression. It helps with anger. It helps with taking on all kinds of stuff. So practice it as much as you can. I challenge you to do it for 1 week, every day in the morning and at night, and see how big of a difference it makes for you. Now I'm going to switch over to grounding now. And before I do so, I just want to say that I do have in the comments a link to many different places that you can donate for tonight's class. Not required at all, but I always try to. I don't always. I always say it at the end, but I'm gonna start trying to say it kind of in the middle, in between time, so people realize that it's there. Because a lot of people pop in, they stay for 20 minutes, and then they have to hop out. So I just want to let everyone know that there is that option to donate, and it's very much appreciated. It helps me with many different things, such as keeping the center open and so on. So, going into grounding, there are different types of grounding. There is energetic grounding, there is physical grounding. I'm going to talk about both and kind of just give you the rundown on how you can ground and what grounding actually means and what grounding can do for you. All right. So let me see. Where am I at? All right. So when you do grounding, it is helping you to diffuse any energy within your body. And I talk about this in just a second, but energetically grounding, which is where you imagine roots coming out of your feet, going down into the earth. They connect to a crystal deep down in the earth, whatever the color is, whatever color you need today. So you let it connect. And then that energy starts to run up those roots, and you see it filling up your body, all the way up to your head, into your arms, and then you send it back down into the ground. So when everything that I teach has been proven to me that it works by the universe, I'm a very skeptical person, and everything that I have learned is it has been proven to me. So anyway, I came home from work one day. I did my grounding. I brought in this energy, and as I was sending it down, actually I should back up. I got home from work, and I was like, my body was like, bzzz, it was just buzzing. We can call it anxiety. We can say, well, it was extra energy, whatever you want to say. And I sat down to meditate. I brought that energy in. And as I was sending it down, I started to feel that buzzing moving down my body with my intention. So my intention follows that energy down, and it sees it moving down my body. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. I'm sorry. So once it got to my legs, I started feeling that extra energy moving down my legs, and I was like, no way, is this, like, I'm actually feeling this anxiety moving down my legs. And my right leg emptied all the way out into the ground, but my left leg was a little bit hesitant. I couldn't get it to move. So I took some breaths, and I allowed myself to relax, take some breaths, and then it started to slowly move on out of my foot. But that was my proof that it actually works. So working on utilizing grounding is super important. And earth grounding helps with many things, such as regulating blood pressure, your heart rate. It helps with transferring negative energy out of the body and bringing new energy in. It helps with anxiety, stress. It helps with so much. If you're having trouble sleeping, walking out on the ground with bare feet, super important. So that's what physical grounding is. Physical grounding is walking outside in grass barefooted. So, or you can place your hands on the ground as well, whatever you want. But walking outside barefooted, if you stand in one spot and then you kind of move and go to another spot, you can feel so much warmth on the ground where your foot was connected with the earth. And that's because there's a huge transference of energy that's happening in that area. So do that. You can also go hug a tree. And I know that's like, ha, you're hugging a tree. But like, man, if you haven't went out and just touched a tree recently and just felt that tree taking away anything it needed to take away and giving you anything that it needed to give you, you should really, really try it soon because it is absolutely amazing. So, going up to a tree and just placing your hands or giving it a hug or whatever and just allowing that energy to flow. And I follow a shaman on YouTube, and she was talking about a method that she uses for her clients to ground. So what she does is she goes outside and she digs up dirt and puts it in a bag. And if she ever has a client that like is very ungrounded and they need grounding, she'll give them the bag and have them put their hand in that dirt. It's super grounding. It helps to get rid of anxiety, and it helps you to just kind of center in and move into your centered place. So feel free to try that method. If you have like a flower pot, putting your fingers in that or whatever you feel, give it a try. All right. And also, it's just basically kind of like resetting your energy. That's what it does. It takes away and gives back, and it's resetting your energy. All right. Let's see. All right. Another thing that you can also look into, and I'm going to get into explaining more about all this, but I'm kind of bouncing around, not meaning to. Another thing that you can look into is a grounding mat. And I have Melissa at my office, the Center for Healing Integration. For those that don't know Melissa, she would always talk about grounding mats and how amazing they are. And I would always just say, yeah, great, that's amazing. But I never put thought into it. And then one time I got the urge to get one. And man, the difference that a grounding mat makes is just like insane. So what a grounding mat is they sell them for like underneath your feet. You can put it at your desk so you can take your shoes off and you can put your feet on that grounding mat. They have them as sheets that you can put on your bed. Be careful if you do that because there's some very uncomfortable ones and then there's some very comfortable ones. They have seats that you can sit on. They have all different sizes basically. And what it does is it has a cord that connects to it, and that cord runs into your outlet on your wall, and it goes into the grounding port of that outlet. And that grounding port, and every single grounding port, like the prong, the lower prong on your outlet, that goes to all the other grounds in the house, and they all lead out to a grounding rod it literally goes down into the ground, and it's grounding anything that would happen with your house and so on. For me, I didn't like that idea. So I have mine to where it plugs into my grounding mat, which is a sheet on my bed. And I have a long cord that goes out of my window. And then I push this rod, like this big, down into the ground, and it connects on top of that. Now you can take a multimeter and you can put it on that mat, and it'll measure up to like 8 to 12 volts of energy that's going through that mat. And when you place your hand on it, that voltage drops. And that's because you're now taking that voltage in. So that's a good scientific proof that it is working and there is some transference that's happening. So that's through a mat and through a little cord. Imagine if you have both your feet on the ground or you're laying on the ground or whatever, and imagine how much energy is flowing through there is what I'm just trying to get at compared to a mat. So you can do a grounding mat. So look it up. If you have any questions about it, reach out to me through private messenger, or if you have my number, text me. And I can give you a link to mine. The sheet is literally like just a regular sheet, and it's amazing. So let me know. But Yes. So not burying, taking your shoes off, walking out on the grass is by far one of the best ways that you can ground and do that transference. You can use grounding mats, trees, you can grab some dirt. People that garden, they are super, super grounded because they're messing with that dirt all the time and they're connecting with the plants and so on. And that is very grounding. Doing like physical activity and stuff like that, that helps ground you as well. So many different ways, but I just wanted to mention that that mat. All right, so let me see. All right, now I'm going to go a little bit into energetically grounding. So I did already kind of go through this, so I'm not going to go crazy in depth with some of it. But you to energetically ground, what you're doing is you are grounding yourself on a emotional, on a energetic level. And what you do is you visualize, you imagine a root coming out of each one of your feet, out of the bottom of that foot, going down into the earth, and it goes deep down into the ground, and then it connects to that crystal. You bring that energy up, let it sit for a second, and then send it back down through the body. The first part is grounding. The second part of running that energy is actually an energy hygiene cleansing that you're doing with Mother Earth energy or whatever energy that crystal is. And you can utilize that in tandem with bright light protection, and you will find yourself so much happier, feeling so much better in so many ways. After almost every one of my healing sessions that I do, I go over how to ground, how to do protection, and how to run your energy. Because if you got an energy healing, your energy is going to be great. It's going to be clean, clear. It's going to be awesome. But then if you go throughout your days, you're going to run into negative people. You're going to have a negative situation. There's going to be all this stuff, and your energy is going to start to deplete. And that energy, so your instead of your battery recharging to 100% every night you go to bed, you go through a bunch of stuff and it ran all the way down to like 40% that day. Well, then you go to bed and you wake up the next day and it's only charged at 93%. So then you go through your day and you make it down to like 30%. And you wake up the next morning and you're at like 90% or 85%. And it just keeps going that way until your energy gets to a base level of just not good. So I tell them, your energy is clean and clear. You're going to go to bed. You're going to wake up tomorrow full of energy at 100%. And to preserve that for a longer period of time, do bright light protection, do grounding, do running your energy. And when you do, that is how your energy is going to stay feeling awesome for a long, long time. You might need to, if you don't do that and you get an energy healing, you might need to come back every month for an energy healing, maybe even sooner. If you do bright light protection, grounding religiously, you may not need to come back for 2 months to 3 months, maybe even longer, unless if you really just feel like you need to. I mean, you can come back whenever, but I'm just saying it's a good way to keep your energy safe and good. If you have your own energy healing, energy healing practices where you bring in energy and you cleanse yourself or use crystals or whatever, bright light protection, running your energy, and grounding is a super, super good way of preserving that healing that you did on yourself. All right, where am I? Oh yeah, so yes, so grounding yourself energetically is incredibly easy, and it is incredibly important, and it'll keep you centered here and in the now, and you'll find yourself feeling less angry, feeling less anxiety, and so on. And it goes great with the bubble of bright light protection. The first time that I ever did grounding on myself, my teacher told me about it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, she's telling me to imagine roots coming out of my feet. Like, what is that going to do? I'm just imagining roots coming out of my feet. And so I'm like, is this stuff even real? Because she keeps telling me to do all this crazy nonsense stuff that doesn't make any sense. Well, I did it, and as I brought my attention down to my feet, I literally felt like something was tickling my foot, like something was being pulled out of my foot, and I was like, no freaking way, like I'm actually feeling these roots coming out of my feet. So from then on, I believed it, and I started doing it, and it has helped me tremendously. So yes, utilize that and let me know how you feel with that. I recommend that in the morning and at night. You do not have to do that before every session or before every meeting or before other things. You can. I do it. I do grounding just like that before every single session. Um, but do whatever you feel. One other way I want to tell you, if you're like, man, I can't feel it out of my feet. If it feels better for you to just ground yourself instead of running your energy and stuff, um, you can sit down on a couch or on the floor or wherever, and you can imagine or visualize a cord or a rod coming out of your tailbone, going deep down into the ground, deep, deep down. And then as it gets down there, you just feel so grounded, so rooted. One method someone told me is you almost see it go down and it feeds into like a ratcheting strap, and you're like and you're ratcheting it, and as you do, it pulls you tighter and tighter to the ground. Like, if you ever tried that, which I encourage you to, it's insane because you literally feel like your butt is just being pulled into the ground. So I highly recommend that, giving that a try. But you can just send that energy or that pillar down through your tailbone into the ground and just allowing that to ground you as well. If you want to see it connect to a crystal, bring it in, fill in your body, you can try that as well. I learned one way of running our energy where you bring the energy up through your feet and you let it go through the body, and then it goes down and out of the tailbone down into the ground. And that's a really good way of running your energy. And after you do that enough, your energy is constantly running and being fresh. That's the idea behind it, at least. So give that a try if you want as well. All right. So kind of just getting in towards the end of grounding, I do think that it is super important to do the protection and the grounding every day. Grounding help also, and this just popped in my mind, grounding also helps with inflammation. If you have a lot of inflammation, using a grounding mat's great. Going out and walking on the earth is great. Lack of circulation in the legs or in the body, it's great for that as well. So just understand that. All right. Now I'm going to move into boundaries. And I also want to say, if anybody has any questions, put it in the chat, and I will either answer it now or I'll answer it in the end. But typically I'll answer it now once I see it. But feel free to ask questions. I may be leaving things out that is very obvious, but I'm just going on and on about my own stuff that's running through my head right now. So I'm going to run into boundaries now, though. All right. So when it comes to boundaries, we have physical boundaries, and then we have energetic boundaries. Physical boundaries are something such as you say that, or you've always had someone that treated you like crap in a relationship, and you say, you know what, no more. This is my boundary. You're not treating me like crap anymore. If you do, I'm leaving. And then they do treat you like crap, and then you actually leave. That's setting a boundary and upholding your boundary. Now, when it comes to setting physical boundaries, what will happen a lot of the times is you set that physical boundary. You live by your truth. And when you set that physical boundary, you may lose friends over it, or family. And what that means is, like, if you say, I'm not going to allow people to treat me like crap and walk all over me or talk to me this way anymore or whatever, and then all of a sudden they try to do that, and you say, no, that's not going to happen anymore, they will say that you're being selfish. They'll say that you are you've changed, or you're being too defensive, or you're too serious, or whatever. But in reality, all that's happening is you are upholding your own boundaries. And don't ever let anybody else. I mean, obviously, we always want to take a true hard look at ourselves to say, are we doing, are we being too crazy, or, are we being unfair to others, and so on. But you want to uphold that boundary and not allow them to do so. And then we have energetic boundaries. And this is setting boundaries such as your bright light protection, or setting a screen or a shield between somebody. And if you look at spirits, and I don't want to go too far into spirits because I want to try to keep this class as less hippy dippy as I possibly can, so that way people that are just getting into this don't get on and they're like, oh my gosh, he's talking about all these spirits and stuff. But I used to do mediumship, and when I did mediumship, I would in the beginning I had all these spirits come down to me at one time, and they were all talking to me. When I would have someone in front of me, and they're like, "Oh, can you tap into a loved one?" I'm like, "Of course, yeah." Then I do, and I have 5 different people talking to me, and it would confuse me. I would start to give them messages. They wouldn't even understand what I'm saying. They'd be like, "Well, that's Uncle Bob, but that one sounds like Aunt Susie, and this one's blah blah blah." So what I did is I told Spirit, I said, from here on out, I ask you, when a spirit needs to talk to me, stand in a single file line but staggered. So if you were me looking into my space, this would be the first person that needs to talk to me. This is the second person. This is who I'm going to talk to first. But I can still see that there's more people behind. That's how I structured that. And then when it comes to like my spirit guides and stuff, I set boundaries with that, such as spirit guides. I want you to guide me. I want you to help me. But I also don't want you to wake me up in the middle of the night. I don't want you to be standing right next to me and scare me. Just things like that. When I first started this journey, I was dreaming where I was like in this white void space, and there was like person after person after person coming in, and I was just laying my hands on them and healing them. And I would wake up and I was drained, like super drained, because I literally felt like I had been up all night healing people. So I set the boundary of, I'm good with that. I'm good with healing. I would love to, because what was happening is there were souls, spirits that were coming to me, and I was healing on a whole other level. I said, that's fine if that happens, but I do not want to remember it. I don't want to be involved in it. Allow my soul to do it, but I don't want to do it because it's wearing me out. And that was the end of it. And just things like that. So also setting boundaries of, I do not want to, or I'm not going to be taking on anyone else's sadness, or I'm not going to take on anyone else's energy when they're venting to me. Or if there's a person in your life that you feel like is draining you all the time, you can say that I am setting that boundary that this person is not allowed to drain me anymore. And then those boundaries kind of cross over from physical to spiritual, and they merge because it's all kind of one and the same. And you just end up saying, you're draining me energetically, and I'm going to set my boundary and not be around you. Or I'm going to ask you not to steal my energy, or I'm going to set that boundary that you're not allowed to, and so on. So yeah. And I wanted to say something about boundaries, and I completely forgot what I was going to say a second ago. So it'll come to me. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. When you're setting your boundary, it's important to really feel that boundary and uphold it. Because if you say that I have this boundary, like let's say that you have a boundary with your friends that if they ask you to go party, no means no. And you have a boundary that says, if my friends ask me to go party, I'm not going to go party. I'm done partying. I'm done. But then they ask you to go party, and you're like, nope, that's my boundary. I'm not going partying. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to do this, whatever. And then they bug you, and they're like, come on, you got to go, you got to go. And then you're like, whatever, he's fine, I'll go. Well, you just completely confuse yourself, your energy, and the universe with that, because the universe and your energy is like, whoa, hold on. You were just saying that was your boundary, and you're not doing that. But now you are. So it gets confused and it doesn't know. So it's important to uphold those boundaries when you set them. So it's kind of important to really think about that boundary before you set it as well. And I'm going to get into how to officially set boundaries. You can just set boundaries and say, I'm done with it. This is it, and blah, blah, blah. But you can officially set boundaries with the universe as well. So make sure that you actually uphold it. When you're setting that boundary, really feeling that boundary and feeling just the boundary there. Just feeling like I am no longer going to allow this to happen. that helps bring you into that space of upholding those boundaries. So let's see. What the heck does this say? Oh, okay. All right. So when we are setting a boundary, you can do it in many different ways. The way that I teach to do it is I get my journal out and I take that journal and I write down boundaries at the top. And like, this is when I first did it. Now I just have boundaries at the top of the page and I write in whatever number boundary it is. So I wrote boundary at the top. Then I put number 1. And I put, let's just say my boundary was my spirit guides can't come to me past 9 o'clock or something like that. So I put my boundary as my spirit guides cannot come to me past 9 o'clock. Then I speak that out loud. And before I do all that, before I do the writing, I ask for my spirit guides to come down to me. And I say, I am now wanting to set some boundaries. And it's almost like this time and space freezes around you. And it's like, okay, we're going to set these boundaries. So you write it down, then you speak it out loud. So then you speak, I don't want my spirit guides to come to me past 9 o'clock. And then you go into meditation. Just like, it doesn't have to be a full-blown meditation. You get quiet, basically. You sit down, you get quiet, and you just embody that boundary. You feel yourself in that boundary. You feel that you're ready to take that boundary on, and you fully set that boundary. You can even say it out loud again to just allow the universe to know that that is your boundary. That's what you're setting, and kind of just that's that, basically. So why we set boundaries is because if you don't, you're not going to be in charge of anything. Well, not anything. You're just not going to be in charge. And if you're not setting the energy that you're able to take in, take out, or give out, if you're not setting boundaries with spirit, if you're not setting boundaries with people in your life, you are just going to be in a constant state of being overrun by others. And I'm going to scoot up a little bit. I realize I'm a little far. They are going to, basically you become a people pleaser. And a lot of people pleasers have very low boundaries. And you get taken advantage of, and you end up not happy because your boundaries are always being pushed over. So setting those boundaries help you reclaim your energy and be one within your energy. So now to kind of, and for some reason this class went really quick. I'm almost like, did I forget to talk about some things or something? But I want to say to kind of recap, not even recap, to capsulate it all. When you're doing protection, you're doing grounding, you're running your energy, and you set your boundaries. These are the most fundamental things that you can do in life to get your energy and your life under control. Once you set these boundaries and you do you're doing grounding, protection, you're bringing your energy to you. You're taking control of your energy, you're taking control of your reality, and you are no longer a subject of everyone else. It's you. Then you start to be able to feel your own energy on what's going on within you. You start to realize, oh man, I have some anxiety. I know I'm not taking on anyone else's anxiety. So what do I need to do? Or where is this anxiety coming from? And then you feel into that. And then you allow yourself to let it go and you work on that stuff. But when you keep your energy yours, that's when the real work starts to be able to happen. And you start to be able to realize your own energy. You say, all right, this is me. This is how I feel. So when you wake up and you're going through your day and you're like, man, I did my bright light protection. I ran my energy. I grounded. I'm feeling freaking awesome. My boundaries are all set. And then all of a sudden you get hit with some kind of emotion, or you get hit with some kind of feeling off or something. Well, you know that is your energy. And you know that there's something imbalanced in your body. I talk about this with the chakra bonding class that I teach, and it's like when you're in tune with your body and your energy, and it stays one constant instead of fluctuating so crazy every day because we're not protected. When you are protected and it's not fluctuating, you are in control at that point, and you can tell when something is imbalanced. When your chakras, and that's why it's good to learn about chakras. So if you want to attend the class next month, very good, because if you know what your chakras represent, and all of a sudden you're feeling unworthy, well, you know that you're not feeling someone else is unworthy. You can check and make sure you didn't establish some connection with someone, and you just do that by saying, is there anyone that's feeling unworthy in my life that I might be taking this on from? And if it's a big no, then it's like, all right, it's mine. So then you know, all right, I'm feeling unworthy. And then you can immediately work on that. So if I'm feeling unworthy, a lot of the times what I'll do is I will wear or eat yellow to support my my solar plexus. And that's how I know when I'm out of balance. You will feel the same thing. You will know, I feel great, I feel good, this is my base, but hold on, there's something added to it now, or there's something taken away from it, and you can immediately switch over to that and fix it. Even if you have to reach out to me, or you have to reach out to someone else, or do research, you can help yourself, and you can get yourself right back in balance before all these things pile on, or before all these things get taken away from you, or you get so off balance that you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? You can catch that because your energy is yours, you feel it, you know it, and you become very familiar with it. But as soon as it's off, you know something's off and you can catch it. And that is how we bring balance into our lives in many different ways. That's how we bring balance. That's how we feel whole. And that is how we just take control of our lives. So that's all of it encapsulated with the grounding, protection, boundaries, and running your energy, and so on. That is the bigger picture with all of that, and that is the end goal. So when we have control of our energy, and we then can keep ourselves balanced at all times, well, what happens? We start to be very in tune with our intuition. We start to become very in tune with all the energies around us because we have our energy, but if we choose to, we can kind of reach out a little bit without taking it, and we can feel someone else's energy. Then we can come back to ours and say, all right, this is ours, we're good. I felt that energy, that person's not feeling that great. So you start to create this base or this foundation where you start to be more intuitive now. You start to be more healthy. By staying in balance, your body gets more healthy. So all the physical ailments, a lot of that will go away. Any of the energetic stuff, all of that will go away. And you start to build this strong foundation of you. And you're literally like sculpting you, who you are. And then that's when, again, we continue to move on. You start to be able to feel those urges more, and you start to be able to move over into whatever it is that excites you, and then you start moving into a new adventure, and you start to be able to take on new tasks and develop on who you are, and so on. Just what I'm getting at is just a big old snowball effect, and once you claim your energy, it all gets better from there. And with those 4 things that I just taught you, you can do so. So with all of that being said, I hope you understand the importance of this. I hope that you give it a try. Literally, just give it a try for 1 week. This is my ultimate formula, by the way, for everyone to start to shift their lives. I truly believe this as well, that if you meditate for 15 minutes a day, it kind of sounded like I said 15 minutes a day, 1-5, and then you do grounding, protection, and running your energy, and you start to set your boundaries, your life will start to shift and change within 2 weeks. I promise you it will, for the better. And by meditation, I want you to just find somewhere, sit quietly, close your eyes, and just allow yourself to just go wherever, even if it's in the thought. As soon as you realize you're thinking, send it away. Go back, find a point to focus on, and just relax, and allow yourself to meditate. Then after that 50, you're just finding a quiet time for yourself, basically. After that 15 minutes is done, you're good. And then doing the grounding and all that stuff in the morning and at night and any other time that you want. And I promise you that your life will start to change in so many ways. All right. So unfortunately, that's all I have for this class. I do want to open it up for questions, and I have some really big announcements as well if you want to stay around for them. I guess not really big, but there's some big. We'll see how big you think it is, I guess. So number one, I do have the donation comment in the comment section. You can donate many different ways. Please feel free to donate if you feel like it. All right, so first one is the Center for Healing and Integration is going to be at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's the old Victory of Light. It's a big expo where there's over like 500 vendors or 400 or 300. I don't even know. There's a lot of vendors is what I'm just trying to say. And there's anything from crystals, from flutes to drums to psychic readers, mediums, healers, like everything you can ever imagine is there. Some things that you don't even know exist, you go and you find it and it's there. We're going to be there this year in a booth. I know Rebecca is going to be doing a few different things. She's going to be doing maybe some light language stuff. She's going to be doing some foot gong stuff, which is a big gong that you stand in and hit with your feet. I'm going to be doing some pain healing and maybe some other things. And I know that Ashley is going to have some sampling of what she has going on with her crystal surgery and everything. And I hope that I'm not missing anybody. I might be, but we're going to try to have everybody up there, but life happens and people have their own things that they're doing. So we might not be able to get every single practitioner up there. But I know for a fact, as of right now, we're going to at least have five or six of us up there. So we're in booth 1141, 1141. Feel free to stop by and say hi and receive some kind of free something. But if anything, just check out the place. It's going to be great. And also, I'm giving a talk on how to connect with your spirit, with your inner child, I believe. How to connect with your inner child. And I'm doing that on Sunday from 2 to 3. All right, so then I also have a Reiki refresher course coming up on the 30th of this month. That is for anybody that is a Reiki practitioner already. Doesn't matter if you're entry level or master. It doesn't matter if you're level 1 or master. Level 2, it doesn't matter. I'm opening this up because there are a lot of people that have done Reiki and it's been a while since they've practiced, or they've done it and they feel like they didn't get a lot out of it, or they just want more practice. So I am opening this up and I'm going to touch on all of the basic, not all the basic, I'm going to touch on all of the stuff about Reiki. So we're going to touch on a lot, and it's going to be for all levels. So if you're level 1, I'm going to cater what I'm teaching to you to level 1. If you're a master, I'm going to also be teaching some master level stuff. And where that's going to come to play is because I'm going to teach, but then we're going to hop on over and we're going to do some healing on each other. And I'm going to show some advanced techniques. I'm going to show some basic techniques. I'm going to show hand positions. So if you forget the hand positions or you want to, see how others do it, we're going to do it. We're going to have fun. It's going to be a great class. It's on the 30th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m., I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So feel free to come and do that. It's going to be an amazing class. Another thing is my chakra bonding course. I am going to be doing that starting on the 1st of the year. Was going to do it now, like starting on Thursday, but life is happening and I don't have a lot of time for that right this second. So that is starting at on the 1st of the year. It's an amazing class. It is one of the most amazing classes that I teach. I love it. It's an 8-week course. It's very reasonably priced, and it'll change your life. And I am so serious about that. It will. It's a great class. And then I think, not lastly, but what was I gonna go at? All right, so couple things. We're going to most likely be doing some kind of potluck kind of thing where we bring an appetizer or we bring a small dish or something like that. in November, like closer to Thanksgiving. We're going to have all the practitioners there, hopefully. And then we're going to invite the community as well. So whoever wants to come, bring a dish, a small dish. And I'm going to be advertising this much more here soon. But bring a dish, and we're all going to hang out. And we're just going to eat and hang out, talk. And we'll probably have other cool stuff. But the way it'll probably go is we're all going to talk, hang out. And then we'll probably end up migrating around and testing out, playing with tuning forks and bowls, and who knows what'll happen. But it's always a great time, especially when you get all of us healers together and then like-minded people together. It's an amazing time. We're going to be doing that. All that's in the very beginning stages. Literally just talked about that today, but I want to get everybody excited about it and get it in your ear now. Also going to be doing a toy drive in December. Don't know much about that, but we're going to do it, and it's going to be awesome. So buy stuff and bring it to us so we can give it to kids and make them happy on Christmas. All right, so then lastly, we do have a few different practitioners that just started this month at the office. I introduced one of them, Ashley, on the Facebook page. She is a crystal. She does crystal surgery. She's a crystal surgery practitioner, and she is now starting there. She also sells crystals and stuff like that. So she's starting there. She's going to be in room 1, and she is going to be a great addition. And I'm super excited for her to get everything going. So feel free to check her stuff out. It's going to be on my website. It's going to be at the center. It's going to be everywhere. Then we have Melinda and Michelle that are going to be coming. As they're there as well. They've already started, but they're still kind of painting and moving in. They're going to be in room 3. They are 3 Reiki practitioners. They're Reiki masters. They also do raindrop therapy, which is aromatherapy. And they are just starting out with their business as well. And they're going to do amazing things. They are so excited to do what they're doing, and they are super awesome people, and it's going to be cool to watch them grow and do what they do. Then lastly, we do have Sophia is another lady that is she's moving into the office eventually. She's a busy lady. She's technically been there for like a month now, but she hasn't moved in yet. She helps people in need. So they help people find jobs, create resumes, just basically get acclimated to life for people that need it, basically. And she does a lot more, but that's just the gist of it. She's going to be there as well, helping people and holding classes from time to time at the center, and it's going to be a good addition. She's a great person as well. All right, I think that's it. Tons of stuff going on at the center this month and next month. So it's going to be getting busy. So if you're not already, check out the event tab, because there's going to be so much stuff going on between Melissa and Rebecca and myself. I've been in a busy period over the past 2 weeks, so I'm trying to get everything together. Also, that reminds me, Monday meditation. It's been postponed for 3 weeks now. I am going to be sitting down over the next day or two and figuring out what I want to do with that. My issue is that I was running into just very low attendance most of the time. So I would have one person there, or I would show up and there would be there would just be one person, or I would show up and there would be 14 people there. It just depends on the day. But there was a stretch where it was just me and another person. There was a time where I went there and it was just me. And I understand people were busy, but I am too, and I'm not going to take time out of my day to go and sit at the office and by myself. So I'm going to revamp that and see how it goes. And I'm thinking about doing a spiritual discussion kind of thing, where we have a spiritual discussion talking about some kind of topic, and then we go into a brief meditation of 10 minutes or something, of just allowing ourselves to go wherever we go. And I'm holding that space for you. We're going to create and build a high vibrational space. So every Monday when we come in, it's already built because of the meditation we've been doing. But we're going to be in a nice elevated space. So the meditation should be really good. So I'm thinking about doing that kind of format, but we'll see. And yeah, lots of stuff going on. Check it out. But other than that, I think that that is it, and I don't see any questions that have came in. So I do want to say that I appreciate everyone watching, and I hope that you got a little something out of this. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. If after this live you're thinking about it, or you're working with it, and something came up and you have a question, feel free to reach out to me and ask me. I'm more than happy to help you out with anything that you need. So, with that being said, I hope that you all have a great rest of your week and then weekend coming up. And I will be back next month with the same series, different class. First Wednesday of that month on the chakras. All right. I hope that you all have an amazing day. Have a good one.